Hello all, this is Vanessa Love and this is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. Alright, so I'm wearing the same thing that I was wearing in my previous video, if you noticed. I just decided to film a couple of videos in the same day since I had a cancellation, so yay. Alright, so I wanted to talk about Coraline. Alright, I'm already going to upset a lot of people by this whole thing, so I'm prepared for that. I consider myself a feminist and a men's rights activist, and I know that some people are probably going to read, the headline, have some feelings about it, and then not actually watch the video. So thanks everyone for giving me the comments to let you know that you didn't actually watch the video. So I mean, the other stuff is that people are gonna just be mad at me in general. Okay, so Jungian psychology has the yin yang, right? So there is masculine and the feminine, and there's feminine and the masculine. I'm not saying in this video whatsoever that only AFAB people can have toxic femininity. There are plenty of people who have toxic feminine traits. And I say this because caring for someone means you can overcare for someone, and that would be toxic. Caring and nurturing and caregiving is often a feminine trait. So I'm not saying that this is against AFAB people. And I know that someone is going to not see this and just completely you don't know what you're talking, you're so misogynistic. All right, well, cool. I know you didn't watch it. But maybe, I don't know, at this point you're gonna be like, no, I watched the first 2 minutes of it. Okay, thank you. I'm knowledgeable enough to tell you about this topic. All right, cool. So Coraline. So I'm reading this plot from the IMDb plot summaries. They're obviously written by people who have watched the movie. I'm just gonna go over the first one, which is by Claudio. Okay. So, an adventurous 11-year-old girl finds another world that is a strangely idealized version of her frustrating home, but it has sinister secrets. When Coraline moves to an old house, she feels bored and neglected by her parents. She finds a hidden door with a bricked-up passage. During the night, she crosses the passage and finds a parallel world where everybody has buttons instead of eyes. With caring parents, all of her dreams come true. When the other mother invites Coraline to stay in that world forever, Coraline refuses and finds that the alternate reality where she is trapped is only a trick to lure her. So again, going back to just kind of some of the psychological interpretations that you can take from this movie is that okay, so there's a couple of things. First, I'll kind of mention that neglected kids do often have live in a world sometimes where an imaginary world where things are perfect, which also kind of leads to aggression and anger because they can't have that. So then it's this whole thing where they often have even if you're kind of well, what would have happened if you felt better about yourself, or if you had parents who acknowledged your feelings or acknowledged you in general. They never want to talk about that because it's fantasy, and they've already kind of lived that fantasy and they're mad by it. So they're no, reality. Okay, working on skills instead. So the other part of this is the toxic femininity. So this caregiving aspect, and how, if you take it from the other mother's point of view, she is just providing a life that Coraline has kind of indicated that she wants. Her regular life is boring and dull, and no one's really paying attention to her, and she's having kind of a crisis, and she's kind of having issues with moving to an isolated new place, probably in Connecticut. Looks very much like Connecticut. Anyway, and kind of leaving this life behind where she was in the middle of a city, I think, and kind of having connections and other things, and again her family just kind of doesn't acknowledge her. So she goes into this other realm where like people are caring and they're paying attention to her, and they're like very idealized like portions of themselves. But like, yeah, it is kind of all of this lure, of like, actually this isn't like a, like, you have to, just like in every other thing with any magic and daily life, if you want one thing, you have to give up another. And so basically she's told that if she wants to live in this world, she has to like kind of give up her eyes. So kind of a weird thing, I guess. I guess people see out of the buttons. It's odd. Like, that's never really explained in the movie. Maybe in the book it is. Please let me know if that's, something. But yeah, like they have this, this, idealized version. She has to give up something in order to live there if she wants to. And, at that point she kind of feels like this isn't actually maybe what I want. And obviously in the real world, she can't change anything. She can't make her parents care about her more. She can't really express herself. Like, she has these kind of odd adventures, and that's about it. But there's this idealized world where everyone is fine, but like, it's also eventually going to be very controlling, because everything is the way that the other mother wants it to be, right? And the other mother thinks, okay, if I provide enough for this person, like, maybe this can, like, this can lure this person in, and I can then feed off of her. How narcissistic. Maybe I can feed off of her and like basically like have her soul. Which, yeah, that's, but like, obviously that's not clear at the beginning. It's like, wow, this is a great place. Like, I could actually live here and like feel like I belong and feel like this is a wonderful place to be, but I have to sacrifice. Yeah. But yeah, the toxic femininity comes from like the caring so much to control, and like to eventually like take the power away from Coraline. I mean, in all of this, Coraline does have the power. She is making choices, and obviously those choices sometimes upset the other mother, which is kind of an interesting thing. It's almost like the good is really good and the bad is really really bad, whereas like in the real world, it's like just bad and boring. And like maybe hopefully some good will come later, and maybe some things will be nicer. But like it is kind of this interesting dynamic there, and that wanting to control, like caring so much to control, and kind of taking again the power away from someone, which I think can be like it like people who actually have this, like, the nurturing and then the over nurturing, like they do get connected to outcomes, like they do get connected to the way that they feel like it should be, so much that it's like you have to play the role or else everything falls apart, right? Which is exactly what the movie kind of does. So yeah, they're like, Coraline has to play a role. She has something that the other mother obviously wants, but also like the other mother is feeling like, I give you everything. I've created this world for you. I've created the idealized world for you. You just have to give me one thing. Well, two things, your soul and your eyes. Like, but I'm the best that I can do, and I'm giving you so much. So it's not really about Coraline, and I'm glad that, at some point she does see this as like, oh, this actually isn't the place I want to be. Yeah, so very interesting. Yeah, and again, that's like, I feel like there is such a thing as toxic femininity, because there are feminine and masculine traits according to Jungian psychology, and so like, when you have something that is typically a feminine trait, it's not a female trait, it's a feminine trait, that like it's not, again, it's not only the people who are assigned female at birth. This is not about like just putting down women and being misogynistic. This is about like, no, there is such a thing as toxic femininity because caregiving can go too far. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful for you, and I will talk with you soon. All right. Thanks.